Hello students, thank you for sticking around knowing more about Lua and scripting. I know that in some videos you will see me jumping around between the editor and then the PowerPoint presentation. This is because as we go through and doing demonstrations, we want to make sure that you understand the basic concepts of programming. We can't really teach you to program in Lua or to know the basics of Lua if you don't understand what a value or a math operator is. We'll be covering some of the basic theory and then trying some things in scripting in Lua and in the Roblox creator. So, math operators you already know. Why we use variables and math operators in programming? Well, most games have counts, calculators, spanning locations, or instances in which objects have to be recreated over and over again. Math operators are symbols that indicate the operation, for example, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, or simply returning a value. As you can see here, there is even math in some of the games that children will play. And a timer. All of that requires programming and knowing about variables, of course. We're also going to study how to do some conditionals. There are different types of conditional statements in Lua, and these can be a study for any kind of programming, including Python and JavaScript. If statements, else statements, or else-if statements. Conditional statements use operators such as and, or, as we talked before. We're going to do a demonstration of a conditional statement in output. We also talk about local versus global variables. Local variables are almost the same thing than variables. They can only work inside of a scope or chunk that is local. The scope is a block of code such as if true then, or while true do something. Global, however, will apply to an entire script. We also did already previously a demonstration of a program on local versus global. You already learned some of the functions, such as print. A function is a group of code that can be executed with a single word or phrase. It has a parenthesis at the end, and it can hold as many lines of code as you want to it. What is inside the parenthesis sometimes is called an attribute. A function is a group of statements that together perform a task. Some functions are already built in Lua as well as Python or JavaScript. You can divide up your code into separate functions to see how it works. How you divide your code among different functions is up to you, but logically the division usually is unique, and so each function performs a specific task. Remember that you need to learn how to put functions and variables in the appropriate order. Two people with the same type of code might code differently, but order sometimes is important to make your functions work properly. For example, you wouldn't want to put a print statement before you input the value of a variable. The Lua value or language provides numerous built-in methods that your program can call. For example, we saw the method print to print the argument passed as an input in console. A function is also known with various names like method, observed routine, or a procedure. We will learn more about what a method is. However, the definition in Lua of a method consists of a method header and a method body. Here are all the parts of a method. Optional function scope. You can use the keyword local to limit the scope of the function, like we did previously, or ignore the scope section, which will make it a global function. What that means is that when you input a variable, if you don't put the word local, and you don't separate the chunks of your coding, Lua will think that you're using a variable that can be applied locally to the whole script, and it can work through the whole game. Function name. This is the actual name of the function. The function name and the parameter list together constitute the function signature. When a function is invoked or claimed, you pass a value to the argument. This value is referred to as the actual parameter or argument. The parameter list refers to the type, order, and number of the arguments of a method. Arguments are optional. Function body. The method body consists of a collection of statements that define what the method does. And of course, return. In Lua, it is possible to return multiple values by following the return keyword with a comma separated return values. A lot of the functions that are used in methods such as remove, destroy, and clone will become immediately very important for you in Lua. Most of the games, remember that when you're going to be developing in Lua Roblox, are going to either remove players, add players, destroy players, or clone things. That means they're going to duplicate an object. Other methods that you will use in your scripting will be find first child, get children, make joins to join things together, break joins to break joins together, get mass, or move to. We will explain some of these later on. The truth and the reality is that when you're coding or scripting something, what you're telling Lua is to do an instance of events or iterative processes. For example, if you wanted a player, every time that it passed through a coin, to pick up the coin and get some money, start a sequence of events such as a numerator or calculator or a count, you're telling Lua to activate a script when a certain trigger is met. For example, touching a par or a player joining the game. A lot of this stuff is done by scripting. You can go to the View tab in the Studio, for example, go to Objects, and then see some of the lightning rods. All of those lightning rods represent different events or things that happen when some part of the script is activated. We're going to do a demonstration on how a player can be added as an event. Every time somebody enters your game, the player information will be added to the leader score. A table is also called an array, and it stores value inside. You can add, remove items, call methods, split from the table in Lua Roblox. As you begin getting advanced in programming, you will learn a lot about lists and tables. We will explain later on how tables are used in Lua and how it can be useful in your programming. These are some of the demonstrations that we have done or we will do in this preview in the next video. The Hello World demonstration, element summary demonstration, how to create a script, behaviors of local and global variables, variables in math, changing properties and conditionals, which is the next module over, and looping functions and tables. Well, hello students. Today we're going to try something new. I found a part of a script that seems like it should be fun. So hopefully it's going to come out all right, since this is my first time doing this with you guys. This tutorial is going to show you how to learn how to create a door in Roblox that also changes color to the touch. So let's see if we can do it together. Through this module, you will learn how to script a brick into a door that changes color as you walk through it. To start, we will begin with an empty base plate and enter the game with Roblox Studio in edit mode. Now we're going to add the part by clicking in the file bar. We're going to click on the base plate and then work to workspace and right click, insert object, and then insert part. As you can see, if I approach, there's a part floating. It is on the surface already. Once you have added a part, click on it on the Explorer to select it. When you have selected the part, you can now add a script into it by choosing the following from the file bar. We can insert object script. As you can see, the script is right here. You can see that underneath the part we have created a script. We're going to click stop to this and click on always save. You see that I print out hello world. Let's go back to it again. Insert a part and then go down to script. Great, now you're ready to start scripting. Double click on the newly added script in the Explorer to open the script editor. Make sure you clear the script. So we're going to delete the message. Print hello world. First, we need to declare the door that we will be using as a local name door. The first line of the code in your script should look like this. Local door equals script dot parent. As you can see, that's a comment and it changed it to green. Defines our new door as the part parent. Remember, the term script parent refers to the object that the script is a subclass or child to. So in this case, it is parented by the part we added earlier. Unlike the last tutorial, we will not be using a function, so that the script only triggers when a certain action takes place. To start a function, we will use this line of code. Function on touch. This sets the start of the function. As you can see, I'm adding the code to the side of the code of programming, so I know what I'm doing, and if somebody that did not do this will come and look at my script, they can figure it out what my code was saying. This is only the start of a function, and end closes of a function, which we will add later. The code that we'll be using to make the door work will be between our function and the end. In this code, we will first have to make the door open, and then after waiting some time, we will need it to close. Let's start by opening the door and making semi-transparent with the following code. As you can see, when I press enter or return, end will be added, so be careful with that not to add it twice. Door can collide. You can see Lua is trying to help you because some of these functions are already built in. Double click on it to type it on the script. Equals false. Our door is no longer solid. Now we're going to set up the door transparency. For me, the definitions of methods were very difficult to understand. So, in layman terms or words, or how I understand a method, is pretty much that they take the object that you want, in this case is a door, then dot whatever you want to change or action you want to display. That will be the method. In this case, it's transparency or can collide. Can collide means that when the door touches the floor, it might no longer be solid, and they can join together with the floor as a one part. Transparency will make it invisible. If we set the transparency to 0.5, and I'm going to put in a comment here, our door is now partially visible or transparent. Before we continue, I will explain what we just coded. In a break-up part, the property can collide determines if a part is solid or not. This is determined by the two states of true, meaning solid, or false, meaning that the break-up part is not solid. In this step of the script, we needed to be able to walk through the door, so we set can collide as false. After this, we change the transparency to 0.5, which is the halfway point between the minimum value of 0 and the maximum value of 1. We want to add a special effect to this door, so it will change color when it opens. Yet, we can do even better than just changing the color to another specific color. We will make a change to a random color. So we're going to add the following script in the next line. Door break color. You can see that the method seems to be always a change or an action that we want to accomplish. Break color. Why they are already in Luau is because you'll be doing this a lot if you create your own world or your own bricks. Random. And we're going to leave this open. We leave this open because the attribute could be any color, not just blue or red or part of the method. We have assigned a randomly generated color to our door. Above, we can call upon the brick color property of our door. Instead of setting the brick color to a set color, which works off out of a number system, you can actually go to wiki.roblox.com and index PHP colors and see that you can actually use numbers to be able to set up the color that you want. We use a brick color random to generate random colors, so we don't have to worry about that. Finally, our door is set up to open, but we also wanted to close the back up. In order to do this, we will first have to add a wait command. Wait to. Remember, this is not minutes, this is seconds. Wait 2 seconds. We add a wait so that the door stays open for enough time to walk through before we close it. It's simple to close the door, so we can just do the reverse of everything we did to open the door. Your next few lines of code should look like this. All of that code should top off our function that we can call now to a close with end. Remember, you can only have one. It should turn blue if you did everything correctly. Make sure that you don't put any extra punctuation like I did. Sometimes you're used to typing normal typing, or that is no coding in your computer, so make sure that you don't add extra stuff which the computer program cannot understand. However, we're not quite done yet. In order for our function to work correctly, we need to set it up to be triggered when our door is touched. This only takes one line of code that follows the end that we just declared. Make sure that you always put it at the end. Door, touch, connect, on touch. Make sure that you only have one parenthesis. On touch. With that code, we have connected our door to our function on touch by using connect and naming it as on touch. Our script should be successfully completed, so now you should recheck that your code looks like the one I have above. If your code matches up correctly with the code above, you should go back to the game window to save and exit your game. I'm going to publish it just in case. In order for you to test this, you want to go into the play bar or test and enter play solo in the 5 bar. You can also go through tools and play solo.